date is it? September 30th. Wow.
Last day of September.
No.
Really?
Last day of September. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do the knuckle thing. You know,
Tomorrow's
30,
October.
31, 30.
Tomorrow's
okay.
the start of the new federal fiscal year.
That's right. Shutdown time.
For those of you that are into budgets, I don't know. Go ahead, sorry.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we actually start the real meeting, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and have the opportunity for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. In order not to keep our good sheriff waiting too long, let's do a quick priority carol,
I honestly
because
could-
I
could honestly
honor
care
our
less.
sheriff as much as I can.
I could care less.
Okay.
Oh,
So with that,
For the
Speeding
record,
tickets.
Commissioner Wentz.
yes. Okay, good morning. Yeah, October the 1st tomorrow. The weather's fantastic. My public safety message is continue to be aware of your surroundings. It's a great time to be outside. So just, be reminded of the things that come with the fall of the year, too. It gets pretty cold overnight. Did you get your corn in yet, Weaver?
That's just starting.
Yeah, I know. So,
That's a
And that-
public safety message.
there's another message. Watch out for equipment on the roadways, farm equipment.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
Shout out to Carroll County Public Library. For those that don't know, Nicholas Sparks, he's a world-renowned author. He was sitting on the stage at Westminster High School last night, and to a sold-out crowd, and was incredibly entertaining. And he now, his book from 2 years ago will be on Broadway in 2 years. So he's got movies, Broadway shows. This is his 23rd book. So it was an honor to have him in Carroll County. And what a character. He's,
More than you?
yeah. He's got a little bit more money than me, too. So I got to tell you. So anyway, great evening. A special shout out to A Likely Story bookstore in Sykesville, who tag teams with the Carroll County Public Library to make these things occur. So that's a great small business down there that's doing some wonderful things here in the county. So shout out to them. I think that's. I didn't. You were at P&Z last night, Dick. So you took my spot there. So I don't have anything to say about that one. You can talk about that a little bit if you want. And other than that, that's all I got. I got a wedding on Saturday. Wanna talk
I
about
know.
that?
Mazel tov. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Weaver.
Okay, you let in the planning and zoning. We were getting ready to give the rollout last night for the review of the ag districts and how they're going to handle that. I think the starts October 20th, I believe. They have their group meeting to start to talk about all the issues we're dealing with in ag and conservation districts in the county. And as Commissioner Wentz alluded to, this is the time of the year when you see a lot of equipment moving on the road, a lot of large trucks. Public safety message, if you see a combine or a group of them coming down the road towing a corn head or grain head, they are large equipment. They have nowhere to go. You have to work with them to maneuver mailboxes, telephone poles, guide wires, overhead lines and everything else. So just slow down, work with the operator. They will usually work with you to get around whatever obstacles they have to deal with. And here again, large trucks are on the road, fully loaded. They don't stop on a dime. Give them some space, and if they're making turns, they take a little bit of space to do that. So please just be aware, and public safety. The other thing is, Halloween's coming, so get ready.
Is that a mask joke of some sort?
You gotta get ready. You're good.
Wonder if people will complain about Halloween masks. Just asking.
I don't know. Are they acceptable?
Are you building up to this? Okay,
no,
Commissioner
no.
Frazier.
Thank you. First, I want to mention, Westminster had the Fall Fest last weekend. There was a Fall Fest parade on Thursday. It's nice to have it back after a year off. The parade was well attended. I also went to Fall Fest on Saturday, whatever day it was, and it was very well attended as well. I mean, it was very packed, actually. Glad to see things are coming back, so that was great.
How about the group that led the parade? Do you have any comments on
I
that
was too
group?
far behind.
The green ones.
They had put me in the front. I couldn't see the Westminster Municipal Band, but I understand they did a fantastic job. I just wish I was closer so I could hear more. I'd like to go in parades and walk in parades, but if I'm closer to a band, it just makes it a little better. I wasn't close enough to hear it from either side because there's another band, I understand it was back a little ways.
That was Winters
And
Mill,
I didn't hear
think.
them either, no. So I was stuck in the middle, but that's okay.
I'll try to get you up next year for.
I appreciate that, trying to use your influence and move me closer,
what I
that's
can
what
do.
I need. I was at a Board of Ed meeting last night, and at the Board of Ed meeting, they modified their quarantine protocols, and that's, information's gonna be coming out, I think Monday, I think it's gonna be Monday when the information comes out exactly what they're gonna do, and they're working with the health department to make sure certain things are in place, but they're kind of making it a little less stringent on the quarantine, so not as many students are missing school. And that's a good thing, the kids have to be there in person. And I was at the Carroll County Career and Tech Center for a tour. I'm sure my colleague who was there has pictures and everything, and let him go over that. But I will say that we get up on the second floor, and they don't have any walls or anything in, and you go one end, and it's wide open space. It just looks massive, it really does. And I'm glad that they're on schedule, they're moving ahead, and the construction, the new construction part will be completed on time. But then the trick is when they move programs from the part that's already in there into the new part, it just takes a lot longer to do that stuff. That's why this build, I think, has taken 4 years, will take 4 years from start to finish. Why they put the new East Middle School in, if everything goes according to plan, it takes just 2 years to get that done because they don't have to worry about moving students and equipment and all the other stuff. So everything's moving ahead with that. And it looks like they answered all my questions expertly, so I know that they know what they're doing. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, and I know, read an article in today's paper about the Board of Ed meeting, and I think there'll probably be a couple of articles coming out with more guidance, and I just caution folks on social media, again, with their opinions on some of the discussions
yeah.
that happened, because there's a whole lot of opinions about those type of meetings.
I want to thank Commissioner Weaver for letting me attend that meeting last night. I know it took a lot for you to hand it over to me. I appreciate it.
I don't know.
Wow.
You got Nicholas Sparks, you got the Planning and Zoning and Board of Ed. I think you won. I do. I think you won.
Really?
Okay.
No, I'm just saying. Go ahead, Commissioner Boucher.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Arnold, do you have anything that you can bring up since Mr. Swam is out today? Here we go. We, myself, Commissioner Frazier, Commissioner Rothstein, we all attended the Farm Bureau picnic this past weekend. These gentlemen helped put this event on. When I came in, I was the first one to check in. They had this real nice cooler chest set up with a bunch of stuff in it, and I asked what the raffle was, and they said $70. I said, that's an awful expensive raffle, but the hook was I want to pay the $70 to become a member of the Farm Bureau, so I'm in on the raffle, which was a nice idea to get people in there. And they had Mission Barbecue. We all got some Mission Barbecue. We're big fans of that. So I want to express my sincere gratitude to these gentlemen for putting this event on and providing public awareness of the farmers in our community. So please be supportive. It's a really cute photo. They had a petting zoo for the kids. They were setting up. And I think that's what really sums up our county. You know, these events like this, getting the next generation involved in the livestock and farming is critical. And then we did the Career and Technology Center. First, I want to thank Commissioner Frazier for attending with me. It was his district. I got my passport signed, was able to go. Unfortunately, they weren't pouring any concrete. I made it out there and didn't disappear. And I want to thank not only Dr. Lockhart, superintendent, but Dr. Eccles, the principal of the school. Oh, that's a scary photo. Ray Prokop, if I get his name right, he's the engineer. Look at that handsome face all the way on the right. And all the contractors and architects that went with us here to yard, they've put a lot of effort into this. And Commissioner Frazier and I learned that this is going to be done in several phases, which makes this job tricky. It's a construction site adjacent to an existing building that's being used by the students, so they gotta do phases. Next year, it'll be in, I believe, it's, Dennis, is it phase 2? We said we'd come back next year for the next phase of it. So I'm sure Commissioner Frazier and I will be back for the several phases of this, maybe some more of our colleagues, and we'll take more photos and show what's going on. It's very impressive. The big open area on the left when you come in the front door is the cafeteria. That's only my favorite place to go. But it's just wonderful, and it was mentioned how open it is. There's so much more space there, and I must say that I'm so honored as a county commissioner to be involved with this board to see this take place, because this is ensuring that we will have economic prosperity in our county into the future. We need tradesmen, tradespeople, we need nurses. All that stuff is on demand, and this is an opportunity for our young adults moving in to get a start. And because it's right down the street from the community college, we have one of the best programs in the state to get people started. You can go to the vocational center, you can transfer eventually and go into the community college and move on from there. I just want to express my sincere gratitude to the school system for allowing us to do this tour and making this happen. So thank you very much, a tremendous honor.
You're showing your age. It's Career and Tech Center,
Is
not
it?
Vocational Center.
Yeah, I went to a voc tech center, so I am getting old.
Yeah, I remember the Votex. But that does segue well. Roberta and I did go over to Exploration Commons, and part of the discussion we were having was the relationships and partnerships that they are having with the Career and Tech, along with the community college and McDaniel, and really emphasizing the opportunities that are that reside here in our community, and they have it covered. So it's one, Exploration Commons is an amazing, opportunity for our county, with all that it's providing, but also its partnerships that really were highlighted to Roberta and I when we were over there. We did have last week a joint meeting with the Board of Education after our open session. Productive joint meeting, and we will continue to have those as time moves on. Both quarterly meetings with the Board of Ed along with our delegation. Communications goes a long ways. COVID-19 still with us. Can't let our guard down. Protocols, as was mentioned by Commissioner Frazier, will be coming out more clearly on the school systems and what they're going to do as far as quarantining protocols, but also the county has opportunity for vaccines and for testing, and more details will continue to follow from our health department on the testing and the vaccine opportunities for our county. In addition, with flu shots that will be given at the senior centers soon, and more details on that. The idea here is, we talk about safety and security. I'm glad to see our sheriff here in the room, but it also is quality of life, and it all comes together to making this happen. So really applaud our health department under the leadership of Ed Singer and all that he's doing with the partnerships, with the vaccines, the testing, and the flu shots. The last thing, just a shout out to a young man who's graduating Liberty High School, Ian Hingley. I had the opportunity to provide him a proclamation as the newest Eagle Scout. It was on Saturday afternoon, and for his Eagle Scout project, he cleaned up an old Nike site in Randallstown. Unfortunately, showing my age, I shared with him that I was on a real Nike site in Europe, working those back in the day. So they're no longer, working now, but it's pretty cool. So he's going to be able to make a museum out of these sites. So really cool being there and just sharing some opportunities in his ceremony. Okay. I think we're good. Anything else for the good of the group? If not, let's move on to the final approval on pension plan changes. And we got Ms. Frock and Warren. Okay, Muller. Talk to us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners.
This is the laryngitis group. So between the two of us, we'll get through this. So initially, on August 12th, we brought before you information on changes to the pension system, requested to go to public hearing, which was held on September 16th. And the board then held that record open for 10 calendar days. We got one positive comment during the public hearing with no additional comments since. And now I'm going to ask Werner to brief you on the final decision that's going to be made of what all the changes are for one last time.
Okay. So again, there are 8 changes that we've discussed in the past. 2 of them specific to the Certified Law Officers Pension Plan. It was to rename the plan to the Carroll County Public Safety Pension Plan. This plan would be comprised of law enforcement, correctional officers, and future firefighters and emergency medical personnel. We also talked about any members that had prior service as a correctional officer, that service would now be included toward their eligibility service. That is also pertains to their academy training time as well. As far as the 2 changes specific to the county pension plan, we're changing the vesting period from 3 years to 7 years, but that's only for individuals with an initial hire date on or after January 1st of 2022. Therefore, the normal retirement date will now be the earlier of 30 years of service or age 62 with 7 years of eligibility service. And then finally, there were 4 other changes that encompassed both plans. Any former employees that are non-vested, we are eliminating any annual interest credit accrual after 12 months has passed from the time that they left employment at Carroll County Government. We also, upon conferring with our actuaries, that we're going to update our mortality tables to be more in line with current mortality experience. Any retirements that are effective January 1st and beyond, for those that elect a joint and survivor option, they will no longer be able to change the beneficiary if there's a death or divorce involved. And then finally, just to keep the plans in compliance with federal law, we're indicating that the required minimum distribution age be changed to 72, which had been 70 and a half up until recently. So those are the changes that were
Is
proposed.
military time based on prior service on this?
So we do give credit for pre-employment military, active duty military service. The employee has to be here for 10 years to get that credit, and the credit could be a maximum of 5 years.
Okay.
And that's for both plans.
Is that a standard?
Yeah, I definitely see that in most pension plans.
Well,
So we're seeking today to close the public hearing record and have those changes approved to both plans.
Public hearing record's already.
Yeah,
Right,
right,
sorry,
right.
right.
We're just approving today.
Right.
And they'll go into effect when? Tomorrow?
Today.
Oh, today?
Some
Okay.
of the changes
Yeah,
today
it
and
was
the,
October the 1st or whatever.
and the
officially.
ones that I specifically mentioned, some are effective January 1st.
Okay. How about previous contractual employees? I'm still trying.
Still fighting that
Yeah,
fight.
so,
with that, I'll move the board authorize adoption of the pension amendments.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Any further discussion or questions for the 2? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the county administrator does have the ordinance, and she has that to be signed and numbered. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
well done.
Okay.
Try not to talk the rest of the day,
I'm
Ken.
gonna try not to go hide in my room.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about replacing some tasers with the sheriff. I think one was used on our fellow commissioner earlier today. Maybe that's what determined
I am wide awake.
2 replace tasers. But, okay.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We are here this morning to seek your approval to purchase replacement tasers from, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Axon Incorporated for a cost of $73,234.40. This purchase is being made through a National Purchasing Partners contract that was competitively bid. This purchase includes the equipment, the extended warranty, and related accessories. It is within budget, so we shouldn't be asking for any more funds. And I will turn it over to the sheriff and Ms. McDonald to, if you have any questions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just to add a little more information for you, what we're looking to do with part of this contract is consolidate multiple existing 5-year contracts that have been started over different years. Some of them are ending and some of them are continuing, so they're all at different places and points in time. So they're all being consolidated into one 10-year contract. With doing that, we're able to lock in pricing for 10 years as well. So I know that's something that you're always looking for people to do. And also, it includes not just the replacement tasers, but their accessories. It does include the extended warranties we need, lots of training equipment, all the cartridges, things for training, a lot of things like that. So also, we get a hardware refresh in 5 years. So it's basically rolling things into a one-stop shop. It allows us to better manage the contracts and the equipment without having to keep all of these multiple contracts going at different stages in all these different years.
So you all approved the majority of these tasers, the previous board in 2016, I think, Commissioner Frazier, Wentz, and Weaver remember that. We're kind of coming up on the end of some of those contracts, so we're trying to consolidate them. Also, Axon has come up, and like any piece of technology, they've produced a better piece of equipment. We currently carry what's called a TASER X2. We'll be transitioning to a TASER X7. There's different advantages to the X7 and the X2. One of the bigger advantages is that it gives us data a little swifter. So I can get data from the time that a taser is turned on to the time that it's deployed and see how the taser is being used, for lack of better words. And it also has a feature that it shoots 2 cartridges. It'll hold 2 cartridges, and previously we would have had to turn the taser off, turn it back on to fire another cartridge. With the new taser, we can literally just turn it sideways, and it'll switch over to the second cartridge so that it can be fired. It's been a valuable tool for us over the last several years. We had a couple of them when I first became sheriff. A couple in the jail, and some of my SWAT folks had them. I came to you guys, you approved the larger purchase, and over the last several years we've used them, and effectively, more effectively not deploying them, meaning they were brought out, pointed, and the fear of us deploying the taser gained compliance rather quickly. But there have been cases over the last couple of years where we have deployed the taser, not only in the jail, but on the road. In fact, yesterday, deputies made a traffic stop on West Old Liberty Road at Woodbine Road, down in Commissioner Boucher's district. And during the traffic stop, it was learned that one of the individuals, I think the driver, was wanted. He was pulled out of the car, arrested. Deputies started a probable cause search inside of the vehicle. The other suspect that was standing outside realized we were getting close to what he didn't want us to find, and he took off running. Deputies pursued him and deployed a taser rather quickly and subdued him within minutes. And so that's the value of the taser. We don't have to go hands-on. We don't have to do certain things that historically we would have had to do. So the taser was deployed as recently as yesterday. It's been an extremely valuable tool. And in 2021, with the legislation that's coming out, we simply have to have it. You have to have less lethal tools at your disposal so that you don't go to the firearm unless you absolutely have to. And these things are a must in law enforcement. And this is just a continuation of the equipment that you supply us. And I've told you guys this every time I come over here and I ask for equipment. You give me the best cars, the best guns, the best tasers, the best equipment money can buy. You approve it and purchase it. There's simply no organization out there that has better equipment than we do. From the cars to the best uniforms, the guns, and everything that we carry the best equipment on the market. And so this is a continuation of that. I did send a text message to Dennis, and I had talked about this years ago, but and he is older and he is wiser.
Wiser than I.
So he's much wiser than Eric, and he declined my offer, which was which is very smart of you, and, but Eric didn't. And so
Can Matt, or Mr. Arnold have the video potentially to bring up?
this
Is he out
morning,
there?
he was nice enough to, and you guys are
Here, watch this. Oh, disappeared? Maybe I'll bring it back?
I want to see this.
those two guys are like, not me, not me.
Right.
An extremely valuable tool. And in 2021, with the legislation that's coming out, we simply have to have it. We have to have it. The tools that and that's the effectiveness of the taser. And you're welcome. You don't have to thank me.
He did this for you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will say, you know what, in politics, most people try to strong arm them to get them to vote for something. He'll shoot you with a taser.
Yeah.
When you get your new ones, could we have an old one to put
So that
up
was
here?
that was the older one that we shot Eric with, and it worked just fine. And he'll tell you that he's in welding and he's been shocked before, and I'm sure that measured any.
Oh, it has a bite. I did it because in my career, I've been hit with a lot of voltage. But when that
You
thing.
can tell.
this I knew this would open up an awful lot here, but
But I will tell you, if you get hit with that thing, you're not running anywhere. You're dropping. And what I like about the fact that the sheriff alluded to is there a liability. This is going to help cover the county's liability with not using lethal force, and that these tasers are basically smart tasers, as you mentioned. They keep track of things, so there's no discrepancy. There's information that's recorded in that taser. So for the price, this is fantastic. But I will say that the deal was I would do this because if I sold my britches, I was switching with the sheriff.
and he almost did. And Tim, he just signed a waiver. Yeah, so I knew you would ask that, but I did get him to sign a
Too
waiver.
much information.
So,
Well, after what he did to me, I'm going to move that the Board of Commissioners award the purchase of replacement tasers to Axon Enterprises, Inc. in the amount of $73,234.40.
I'll second that.
I have to say, I'm sorry, my schedule couldn't accommodate me to get paid like that.
see, I said we would come to you, Dennis, but
I
you
know.
still declined me.
Right, there was
Yeah.
no way my schedule was going to accommodate this. I don't care what it was.
That was better than
I
morning
appreciate the
coffee.
offer.
So, do we have any X7 tasers on hand right now?
Yes. So Sergeant Hollins here and Master Deputy Dan Simmons is here. So Master Deputy Simmons is,
The one that's breaking the computer
Yeah,
back there?
just right.
Yeah.
the Master Deputy Simmons is our master instructor for the taser.
Right.
Obviously, Sergeant Holland runs the police
Yep.
academy for me,
Yep.
is in charge of all training. And so the X7s I currently have in the jail. You guys approved those last year. It was
Right.
an operating budget. There's about 20 in the jail that we run with. This is transitioning all the X2s that the deputies carry on the road to the X7, and that'll be done in stages.
Yeah.
It simply can't be done overnight. So what'll happen is Axon will come in, they'll supply us with all the new X7s to Sergeant Holland's crew over a period of several months as they
Right.
come through in service. We'll do an 8-hour course with them, transition to the X7s, and then they will be out on the road.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
please.
One of the things that was mentioned, I think Commissioner Boucher had mentioned, or I spoke with one of you about, is the cameras on them. Somebody had asked, do the tasers have cameras? And they do. We've found a flaw with the cameras. We decided to purchase the tasers without the cameras, knowing that we were going to body cameras in the future anyway, and it would capture this. But when we, the camera on the tasers is on the stock where the
Right.
battery is at the very bottom. And when we pull them out, we put two hands on these weapons, and it covers the cameras almost always.
Right.
And so we chose not to go with that option and stuck with the traditional Axon X7. Now, in the jail, the Axon X7s exist, but about 98% of that jail is on camera. So
Right.
inevitably, everything's going to be captured on a video camera in the jail. And in the future, everything that's deployed should be caught on a deputy's body-worn camera, probably a little better than what would be on the Axon taser itself.
Will we be able to dispose of the X2s through,
So we're getting a credit for them.
And they actually go
A
back.
credit?
So
Yeah.
part of all of these programs is they get refreshed, so then once we transition,
Right.
that hardware actually goes back.
right, okay.
That's
Okay.
good.
Any
Now-
other,
I just want to ask, do all your cadets have to be shot with this in their training?
Yeah, if you want one, you gotta, I carry one, and I was shot with one several years ago during training. And a lot of people say, we OC spray you, and we will shoot you with a taser. Now, I give you handguns, and I don't shoot you with a handgun to see how that goes, nor do I have you hit with an aspeton per se. But it is an effective way of explaining to a deputy or law enforcement officer, this is what'll happen. We know what'll happen if they get our guns from us. The reason we shoot them with a taser, the reason we spray them with OC spray is so that they can learn to defend themselves should they be disarmed by one of the two. And what it does to you when you're disarmed and how you need to respond to that. You're completely incapacitated.
Well, I am thoroughly impressed with it. I have a lot of respect for you guys. I want to personally thank Sergeant Holland back there for holding my hand during the process.
You took it like a champ. I was actually impressed. I really
Well, I
was.
thank you. I know one thing, if it wasn't for the two deputies on each side of me, I would have just collapsed
Oh,
and
yeah.
hit the floor face first. So I'm very grateful that I had a gentleman on each side of me to help
I
me.
knocked your earring right out of your ear, Eric. It
I
just sorta-
I could have held a light bulb and lit it up.
Was that the first take? Because if you did a second take or
No, that
something, I'm
was-
sure.
You know what's interesting though is the gentleman back there, deputy, he was going to go first. And I think, no, I'm gonna go first because if I see someone else do this, I'm not gonna have the nerve to do it.
You still have a little glow.
Oh, I have a lot of glow this morning.
Okay, we had a motion, we did have a second. Any further discussion of value? Seeing
No,
here
sir.
none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much for.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate it
much.
Okay.
Comic relief for the day.
Next time you want me to vote for something, just ask politely.
Chris Swam is going to have a lot of fun with that video, I'm
I
afraid.
bet he will.
I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that in the future.
Okay, we are going to move on to a discussion on the RFP with the Harrison Leisure Property, our economic development team. Mr. Liburn, I saw him pop in and pop out.
Probably afraid he's gonna get tased or something.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Library.
So, what's that? Say again? Okay, so before we get started, according to our agenda, we'll be asking for public comments on this topic, and then we will have Mr. Liburn walk us through the process. You know, and I just want to share that we try to do it right by getting public comments before we make decisions. We try to get it right, to get public comments before the conversations. I think I've seen every, avenue we take, either criticism and appreciation on how we're doing it. So there will always be criticism and always appreciation on whether we have public comments first, public comments second, public comments at last. We made the decision that we will ask for public comments up front on both, on the Harrison Leisure property. And then, Jack, you will have the discussion, and then we will have our discussion amongst us with you, okay? Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. We will work ourselves through it. What I'd like to do is have the public comments that are in the room first, if there are any, and then Matt, you'll walk me through public comments that are on the phone, okay? So with that, public, who do we have?
Mr. Carl Mundar.
Okay,
Come to the
yeah, please,
microphone.
come up to the mic and share your name and your residence. And then
Hi,
go from
thank
there.
you. My name is Carl Munder, council member for the town of Mount Airy. I live at 2002 Fieldbrook Lane, Mount Airy, Maryland. I would like to say thank you for allowing the town the opportunity to speak today on this topic. And I would like to mention that Mayor Poyer has submitted a letter on the town's behalf. I believe you should have copies in it. If not, I brought copies to give it. So I'm just going to read some of the highlights of the letter for public record and for the public to know what was in the letter if it has not been disclosed yet on any websites. Out of the 2 development proposals, the town would prefer the fall developers consisting of primarily residential with single and multi-unit senior housing and complementary retail. We deem this a more compatible use of land regarding the town's desired direction of growth. The Mount Airy Senior Task Force has also been focusing on elderly housing and has identified a dwindling inventory of senior housing options within our town. A thoughtfully planned and executed senior housing development could serve to provide far-reaching benefits to the aging populations in both Carroll County and the town of Mount Airy. Also, such a development could serve as an economic driver to the existing business community in the southernmost portion of the county. We also identify and realize that no matter which option is chosen, there will be significant traffic-related concerns on Route 27. At a minimum, we believe Maryland Route 27 will need to be upgraded and widened from Twin Arch Road north to Maryland Route 808 to support the future development of the Harrison-LaShire property. And also, the town has submitted a request to the Carroll County Commissioners for this upgrade to be included in the upcoming Maryland Department of Transportation Consolidated Master Plan, to be submitted as part of that. And finally, the town envisions that any future development of the Harrison-LaShire property will be best served by extending the town boundaries to include these parcels via an annex.
I apologize.
No problem.
It's muted right now.
I'll make the 3-minute time.
No,
limit,
don't
so.
worry about that. No, you're fine.
Will best be served by extending the town boundaries to include these parcels via an annexation agreement. This would allow public services, primarily water and sanitary sewer capacity needs to be met through the connection to the town's existing infrastructure and be served by the production wells located on the subject properties. And I also would just like to remind the county commissioners that I believe at the meeting earlier this year that when the county regained possession of this property, that it was agreed upon for the county to work with the town in any type of deal or annexation agreement or anything of that nature that might be worked out with any potential developer. So I would like to say thank you for allowing me again to
Okay,
speak.
let's, if we can turn off the clock, and because you are part of the town, I'd like to have the opportunity, if anybody has any questions from the mayor, because we did just receive this yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's great, but if you can answer any of the
I will-
questions from the town.
I will try, Commissioner, but just take it, this was given to us too we learned about all this Monday, so we formulated a letter was finalized, so anything, if you do have any questions, I would prefer you to contact our town administrator, David Warrington, or the acting mayor, Jason Poyer, because right now, what I would say, I can't really classify as fact for the town.
Well, thank
But
you.
but I can try.
Well, Councilman, I want to express my sincere gratitude that you came out here today to speak, and that the acting mayor submitted a letter, and that I'm at your disposal for a potential meeting. Just contact me and I'll come out and visit, and I can have more of an intimate discussion with you guys. But I appreciate the input. This is all have a major impact upon your town and the community. I hear a lot of the citizens, so I want to really think this thing through and hear from as many people as possible. So thank you for being here.
All right, thank you, Commissioner.
What is the senior task force?
The Senior Task Force has just recently formed task force, but it has been kind of in the background for the past several years. It looks at, it was formed by the late mayor to look at on senior issues for town. What do the senior population consider issues in town? One of them was, the primary concern was lack of affordable housing for seniors, lack of diversity of housing for seniors in the area. A lot of people would like to stay in the Mount Airy area, the seniors would, but they just find it unattainable due to financial reasons or lack of services.
Okay, good, because I tried finding it on the Mount Airy site. I found the Growth and Development Task Force,
Yeah.
but not a senior task force.
Yeah, as I said, this was like working in the background the past couple of years. It was just formally, I want to say, not initiated is the incorrect term, but recognized by the town as a official task force for the town. I believe there may be a rough report that I could try and obtain for you all and send it to you. If not, I'll just say this is some preliminary findings that the task force has found.
Okay, is that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I have no other
no
public comment
other,
requests.
in the room, okay. Matt, what I'd like to do is, you're showing me that we have 6 callers on. So again, instruction with the callers, and Matt, you're going to manage these callers. But the instruction to all the callers is please state your name, your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes to share with us what's on your mind. So Matt?
Caller 1, you've been unmuted.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are you?
Good morning.
My name is Diane Perney, and I live at 4044 Butler Road, Mount Airy. First, I'd like you to know I'm speaking on behalf of the Butler Road and Jack's Court residents in Mount Airy. Our first and foremost worry is that our needs will not be taken into consideration. Whichever developer you will certainly agree to, you must protect our current neighborhoods. One, we need guarantees that our wells and waters will be viable. My well is very shallow, and I have never needed to drill further down to access a water source. This kind of building that you're looking at, we need guarantees that if, or more likely when, we have issues with our wells and water, we can count on the developer or the county to rectify the matter with no cost to us. And we would like to see this in writing. Understand and take into consideration that this land is on an aquifer that can be depleted without appropriate recharge areas. Plus, with industrial materials and fuels leaking into the ground, can we trust our water supply? We would also like guarantees that the residential areas will remain residential and not changed, as was noted by St. John's initial reply in the RFP. We need to be assured that we will be able to live in peace and tranquility that we currently live in. Pollution from the businesses such as light, noise, and air pollution will need to be kept to a minimum. I would like to state that I have had several correspondence sent to all the county commissioners and to Mr. Liburn and Paige Sutherland, only to get no replies from anyone but my county commissioner, and I'd like to thank Commissioner Boucher for his responses. I believe this whole matter has been done with no transparency at all. Even the town of Mount Airy is learning about this development from the Harrison Leisure Facebook page. It is beyond belief that the county would sell land in the manner that they're doing this. I actually spoke to a representative of Public Purchase, and they were alarmed that the property was being sold, not leased through them. Their site is to be for bids for goods or services, not the sale of land. As I look over the 329 RFPs that Carroll County has put on the Public Purchase site since 2016, this is the only land for sale. Why was this land not put up for sale to the public? I can only guess my question will never be answered. Or maybe I have the answer and it's a county government that is only looking to add to its coffers and not the pulse of its constituents. I do have some issues for you to think on as you review both plans. The Frail builders, why did their original statement claim that they would be building 550 senior living units, and now we're up to over 1,200? That is a ridiculous number of units. Look at the drawing. It looks like a city of its own. Nor did they suggest initially that they would be putting any businesses on the land, and now they've changed their mind. As for St. John's properties, they're not a company to be trusted. Did they not do most of the building that created the flooding issues in Ellicott City? Will they stick to their plans, or will they try to build less residential areas? We, the residents, want to know where the water and sewage treatment plants are proposed to go. There is no way in the world that either development will build its own water sewage plant. But if they do, where's it going? Are they going to try to annex into Mount Airy? Yes?
Please finish up your comments.
Okay. Just be assured that we are watching this, and we have 400 plus people living along Route 27, and we have a presence in Westminster. We will grind up the wheels at election time, take a look at what happened to Monrovia Town Center. I understand that everybody says not in my backyard, but this is a ridiculous size and not zoned for this kind of expansion, nor will the roads take this kind of traffic. This entire process has been somewhat covert and unconventional, and we don't take this lightly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Matt, next.
Caller 2, you've been unmuted.
Hi, this is Simone Blanchard. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Simone.
Hi, I live at 4073 Butler Road in Mount Airy, Maryland. Thank you for the opportunity to comment this morning. I would like to express my concern with the less than transparent process for the development of this Harrison LeShare property. At the August Commissioners meeting, the 2 bids for the Harrison LeShare property were introduced, albeit with no visual presentation or plans to show. It was decided at that meeting that commissioners would wait to vote on the proposal until commissioners and residents had a chance to see the plans and discuss them. I was very grateful for that decision. In between that meeting and the meeting today, Commissioner Boucher tried to get the site plan concepts for each proposal from the Economic Development Department so that he could meet with residents and discuss the plans. He was told that they were waiting for more detailed site plans from developers and that it would be shared with commissioners without the opportunity for public dialogue between commissioners and residents. I do understand that we are able to comment right now before this agenda item. However, that does not give us the opportunity to react to the presentation or ask questions. I would like to ask you to consider the following 2 requests. Number 1, at this meeting, I would like for the Economic Development Director, Jack Lyburn, and commissioners to lay out the process and laws and regulations that govern the process for the development of this land, from winning bid to breaking down in a step-by-step fashion so that the public is aware and everyone understands. Number 2, I would like for you to hold a public meeting about the development of this land where residents and Mount Airy town officials and staff can discuss the 2 options with commissioners and ask questions to the developers before these proposals are taken to a vote. This process has been less than transparent and residents have had to beg for information. As for the site plans, they're very difficult to compare as St. John's did not fully lay out the residential, retail, and industrial concepts, and the FAL plan did so it makes it look like the St. John's plan is more favorable to residents than the FAL plan. Both of these plans have much greater density than was verbally presented at the meeting last month. It is clear we cannot trust the information as it continues to change. However, it is almost certain that either of these developers would have to petition the town for annexation, as it is impossible to have this kind of density on wells and septic. I'm concerned that no town or county officials or developers until today are publicly talking about that. Perhaps they are behind closed doors. Please know that residents continue to organize and we will continue to demand transparency and input into the development of this county-owned land. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt? Caller 3.
Caller 3, you've been unmuted. Caller 3, please state your name. Caller 4, you've been unmuted. Caller 5, you've been unmuted.
Hello, am I unmuted?
You are.
Okay, great. Thank you. My name is Steve Trice. I live at 4066 Butler Road. I emailed late last night because I didn't think I'd be able to make it today, but had a last-minute meeting canceled, so thank you for the time. I echo both Simone and Diane's comments. We do not feel that the process has been transparent. We met with Commissioner Boucher, who expressed his frustrations in lack of being able to obtain the site plans and the visuals, et cetera. And the fact that we found it in the agenda this week and weren't alerted is a little concerning. We would like to understand the legal process around this and ensure that we don't end up in any issues like we ended up before, or why the county owns the land. And I'd like to express that, between the two developments, we've looked at those. The 1,200 buildings on the senior piece is entirely too dense. It was originally 500 or so, and now it's over 1,200. And if you look at the site plans, it does look like a little city, and they're stacked all the way around the property and up against our homes, et cetera. We would need more setbacks and some additional free space in that type of development. And then regarding the St. John's, we would need the guarantees that they're not going to change the residential piece to commercial, as was kind of a caveat in there. And as part of all this, we need well protections. As Diane, I believe, mentioned, our wells are extremely shallow. And when I mean extremely shallow, I mean like less than 40 feet, which is probably surprising to some folks, but it's the case. And we need the setbacks, as I mentioned before. So, like I said, both of those plans present some problems. There's been other things that have been discussed, and we'd like to see this brought to discussion with the town in a public meeting so that everyone gets an opportunity to have their say and understand what's going on here. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Matt, next.
Caller 3, you've been unmuted.
Hello?
Yep, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Julie Roche, and I live at 3698 West Watersville Road in Mount Airy. I back up to Bottler Road. And I can tell you, when I purchased this property, my well is already 200 feet deep, and our water goes low whenever you hear that there is a problem with water in the area. That being said, I would be concerned and had a well driller come to my home to let me know about the area in Mount Airy and its main well drilling. They have done most of the drilling in the area and also have drilled on that property. He advised me that it's very difficult to get water. The property that is near me, that is currently farmed by Mr. Nill, is and would be continuously needing water from that aquifer. So I'm concerned about not only our residences, but the keeping in mind that we would lose a wonderful farm that is currently using all of this land to sell from. That being said, I also contacted the Maryland Department of Transportation, who advised me that they are on backlog with road development and that there would be no changes in that area for at least 13 years based on their current backlog of work. Also, that if it were to be done, it would be at request of concerned citizens only, that they would not make any changes, that these, whatever was going on right now, they have no information about, and that everything that is being done has to have been done privately. I have a lot more information, but I'm afraid I'm running out of time.
Well, you have a little bit more time if you want to share.
So what they told me was that there are developments that have been scheduled through the Maryland Department of Transportation that have currently been on the log for like 13 years, so there would be no changes. Currently, West Watersville, all of the development of Nottingham, everybody that's coming out in the morning trying to access 27 to get to work at the same time that the schools are, the buses are also trying to get into the multiple schools that use that one intersection. You can sit at the light for 3 cycles of that light in order to get out on 27. If you were to start, and you also know that there's another development going in across 27 that is currently in the process at the town of Mount Airy that includes a commercial structure along with over 100 townhouses. They're all trying to be built at the same time.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Julie. Matt?
Caller 4, you've been unmuted.
Hello, thank you for your time. This is Larry Hushar, 501 Westridge Drive, and I'm currently a candidate for mayor in this upcoming special election, but at this time I'm strictly a resident of Mount Airy. I'd like to start by saying I support the letter that was written to you and delivered to you last evening, and I appreciate Councilman Munder being there and speaking today. As many of you remember, I was a strong supporter of the IDA when it was trying to develop this property. I thought that was a really good fit for the town, and it came with some water, and it came with open space. Both items are things that we needed in this town. But either of the proposals that are coming before you today, be it Frall or St. John's, is going to have a huge direct impact on the infrastructure of our town. In effect, you're increasing our population, and if not annexed, then you're increasing our population outside of any regard toward our APFO. The roads, obviously the traffic, and as a previous caller stated, it takes a lot of work to get out of Nottingham and get onto State Highway 27. And that's a huge concern to the citizens of Mount Airy, as well as our open space deficit. We do have one. I do realize that the depictions that are before you have 85 acres of open space. When we were working with the IDA, that 85 acres was supposed to come into the town and practically alleviate our deficiency in open space. So that's a big deal to us. Our police department, the way our APFO is set up, we're at 1.1 per 1,000 residents, and we currently have 11 officers. But you're about to potentially increase the population through one of these developments by well over 1,000 people. And when you do that, that's going to trigger the need for another officer, maybe even 2 other officers in our town, and that's a costly burden upon the town. Fire company, we have a fire company that does an excellent job for a town of roughly 10,000 people, but you increase this population every time somebody hits 911, and if it's a senior community, they're going to be hitting 911 a lot, then we're going to have to absorb that burden as well. And so I believe that, and the bottom line is you guys are about to make a decision that will be changing the town of Mount Airy forever. And I'm pretty concerned about that. And the biggest deal in this whole thing is that if an annexation agreement does not occur, then you're increasing the population of Mount Airy, in effect, without even any consideration toward our APFO. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Matt, I believe we should have one more.
Yes, sir. Caller 6, you've been unmuted.
Hello, my name is Jill Mannion. I live at 4065 Butler Road. While I understand the county's desire to dispose of this land has not been a new situation at all, this is decades at this point in the making, the current manner in which the sale of the land is being currently considered is incredibly rushed and has been completely untransparent. The density that is being proposed is pretty astounding in both the St. John's proposal and in the Frail Development proposal, and yet there has been no test as to whether any of these concepts would actually pass local or state agency review. And we will have state agency review with the State Highway Administration. the intersection of Watersville Road and Mount Airy, and Route 27 in Mount Airy is already under incredible strain. This amount of additional density, not only on Route 27, but also it would also affect Butler Road and Watersville Road due to the secondary access that are being proposed for both proposals. Is going to incredibly change the character of both of these neighborhoods. Considering that in order for any of these developments to occur would require a complete rezoning of the property, just the rush of how this is being proposed and brought to the public provides little to no time to digest or to ask reasonable questions about whether we're even voting on a proposal that would, in the end, realistically be able to make it to fruition, and what it would take and how it would impact the community to do so. I plead that before you actually take an affirmative action on either of these proposals, that you take a pause and you explain to the public exactly all the steps that would need to take place for either of these developments to occur. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jill. Matt, do we have anybody else?
No, sir. Everyone on the line has spoken.
Okay, I appreciate it. So with all that said, and we have nobody else in the room to speak for public comment, Jack, the floor is yours. We have your discussion paper and a couple of attachments that you provided that are also the displays you have. So it's on you.
Commissioners, thank you. I'd like to have a little bit of history here. The county deeded the IDA property on November the 8th, 2010. The IDA voted in January 27th of 2021 to return it to the county. An RFP went out on April the 9th, and we extended it a couple months to get more feedback and to get more interested parties, and then we ended it on July 11th. We received two bids on this, two plans. But the one key to this is that both, it was in an RFP that they're buying this as is. They know they have to go through all the, I'm gonna say the hoops and jump through many planning commission meetings and meeting with the public and everything else. So I just want to make sure it's as is. And what I'd like to do is just run through real fast the two proposals.
You could probably sit there and just let us know from
Yeah, you're not going to be able to be heard, Jack.
Jack. You need to.
Yes, we mic you up.
No, that's right. Jack, why don't you? I apologize. Why don't you sit back and just.
Jack.
But
They won't hear you.
They want you to sit here so they can
Yeah.
be heard.
Right. I apologize.
We'd hear you, but the public wouldn't.
Yep, we can see it.
Yeah. See it.
Yep, we'll see it.
This is where you need a Vanna.
No, it's all good.
I guess that was me.
On the St. John's property, which you're looking at here, the flex is $342,960. You can see where it is on the plan. The industrial is 190,000 square feet. The retail office is 50,000. So the total would be 582,960. You can see where it is on the plan. The total investment in this property is, when it's built out, is about $325 million. That's a key number. They were going to build 339 homes, single-family homes and townhouses, and that's up against where the homes are right now. You can see on the
Hold on
plan.
a second, Jack. Hey, Matt, we're getting background noise from somewhere. Okay, Matt, if you could put that display back up, that would be great, but there was background noise that we were getting. Okay, thanks. Okay, go ahead, Jack. Jack, it's on you.
I'm gonna read off this.
Yep.
This will create 1,350 jobs. The average salary is 45,000, so that's gonna be a roughly $61 million payroll. And there is 35 acres of open space, and you can see it's gonna create about 84 new businesses in there. The other proposal from Frail, which is Jim Fry's company, wants to build 1,240 senior living.
How much
Sale
was
price
that?
would be
Say it
roughly
one more time.
$500,000.
Jack, how many homes did you say?
1,240
Okay.
senior living, at an average cost of $500,000, which would mean $620 million total. Also 30 acres of green space, so it's about even, 35 acres, 30 acres, I know. Commissioner Wance, you asked about the green space, I wonder how much. They're about equal. This is a little bit different. On the Ed St. John property, they're willing to pay us $19 million on a takedown schedule. And what that is, as they build, the flex buildings and the homes, they would be paying us. So it's a takedown schedule, it's not upfront. It could go out for how many years? And it's about a little over $19 million. However, on this proposal, on Jim Fry's proposal, once he gets all the permits and everything, he's willing to write a check to us for $20 million. When I say us, the county, for $20 million, a one-time check.
Is that contingent on the 1240?
Pardon?
Is that contingent on the 1240?
No.
Yes?
With the zoning approval, basically.
Is that contingent on the 1,240 senior living homes?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, these are concept plans, so I mean, that doesn't mean, when I say 1,240 or this, it can change a little, but you can see especially on Ed St. John, the question was, are we gonna put flex buildings up against the houses? No, and they know it's as is, they're gonna have to buy this and jump through a lot of hoops, and it's gonna take a long process. So I'll stop, and that's basically the key to both of them.
Okay.
Well, just like you said.
Yeah, please.
Okay, we're selling this as is. In order to do either one of these plans, they're gonna have to go to the state, to the county, to the town, whatever things they have to do to try to get this thing developed for site plans, for water, for road access and all that. My question is, I guess, okay, no matter which one we would pick, what happens if they don't get those approvals? What do we end up with? I mean, let's pick either one. If the state says no, or the county, or we don't, they don't have the water, or whatever it is, they don't have the road access, are we gonna get any money back for the property? Because both these things are contingent basically on them getting the approval to run these plans, which may not happen. We can't tell the state what to do. I don't have any intention of telling our planning and zoning what to do, and of course, we're not gonna tell the town what to do. So if they look for these plans and they say, okay, we want this property, let's say that, the Frail said they're gonna give us $20 million, but it's contingent on them getting that
Approvals.
site plan basically approved. Okay, what happens if it doesn't get approved? That's my question.
It's a good question.
I can tell you upfront, it's gonna cost millions of dollars to get to jump through all the hoops with the state and everything else.
Right.
And they're gonna, on both deals, they're gonna put all the infrastructure in too.
Well, my assumption is they wouldn't do any of that until they got the approval to do the plan.
Yes, but to get
Okay.
to that plan's gonna take
Right,
years.
I understand that, but,
you know.
okay, but what happens if the approval doesn't come, is my question. What happens then?
What are your thoughts? I mean, does it revert back to the county?
Well, it's always stays in the county, it'll stay in the county.
But I mean, if one of these purchases it, are they purchasing it with contingency of all the, permitting being completed, or is it purchasing it as raw land, and then they go through all their processes. I mean, what,
Well, Jim Fry has said, I'll buy the land right now. I'll give you $2.5 million. You can walk away from it with no guarantees.
right?
Well, that's it. We can't give guarantees. So no matter what one gets the land, we can't guarantee that these plans will be approved. And I just want everybody to know that. We're not guaranteeing anything here. We're selling the land as land. If they buy the land, they have to go through all the process of getting that developed, planning, concept plan, all that stuff, through the state, through us, and if the town's gonna annex it or not, and all that, that's all up to them to do that. There's no guarantees that, that these plans will come through. That's just my point.
It's as is. They're
Right,
buying the
okay.
property
But it doesn't
as
sound
is.
like it,
Yeah.
what they're saying to
As
us.
is.
Okay.
See, I think we've got your point,
Okay.
twice.
I'll emphasize it.
So you hit on something here I hadn't heard before. The Fry Group said they'd buy the property right now for $2.5 million.
Yes, as is.
What about the St. John folks?
It was never discussed.
Never discussed.
It
Okay.
was, I'm reading right off the RFP, it was never discussed. And if you want to, I don't know if we can go back and negotiate, Tim, on this, we can,
I'm
this
just
one's
trying-
offering this,
Just
this
trying to
one's
get a
offering
feel for
this.
what that means. I mean, obviously the property's for sale. It's our property, it's for sale. Why would we not take an offer of someone who wants to buy it? I'm looking at both sides here. Why would we not exercise the option to just sell the property? And then let it play out the way that it needs to play out, whether the town would annex it or request it to be annexed with the next owner, or whatever that, why is that not an option here? This is the first I've heard of this.
So what, yeah, because it was in the RFP an opportunity to buy as is? What, within the RFP, did it say you have an opportunity to buy all of this property for give me a price?
It was never put in the RFP, but Trail Builders came back, Jim Fry came back and said, it's only worth about $14,000 right now, the way it's zoned, I'll give you $2.5 million.
Per acre.
The problem is,
Per acre.
the problem is, if you sell it now for 2.5, in 2 years he gets all his permits, the property is worth 20 million. Do you want to wait, take a deposit up front, non-refundable of X amount of dollars? You could structure the deal that way, to see if either developers will structure or give you money up front, non-refundable, but you're talking about, a $20 million and a $19 million takedown. So, I mean, we're
Right.
leaving a lot of money on the table.
Well, I understand that part of it, but
They
yeah.
got,
I
the
just-
end result's gonna be the
That's the
same.
first heard
Right.
from me.
Right, yeah.
Either, they gotta go through the state, they
Right.
gotta go through the county, they gotta go through, there's all kinds. IDA saw all this and decided,
Well,
it
that's-
was too much
I
for
know.
the IDA to do, and that's why they gave it back to the county.
Let
And
me
they
ask,
looked at it for 10 years.
you finished?
Well,
No,
I mean,
finish
there's a
your
lot
train
of
thought.
questions here.
Yeah.
Is the town of Mount Airy, or has the town of Mount Airy ever expressed an interest in annexing this property? I mean, I keep hearing these people say, well, you're doing this so quick. This property's been sitting here for 10 years. How quick do you, how slow do you want this to be? And now all of a sudden, and there was always talk about this property since 2010, but now all of a sudden it's too quick. I got a problem with that. But I guess my point is, because the town knew that something was gonna occur there, we just can't assume that it's gonna stay open land. That's just not the way it works anywhere. Has the town in the last 12 years expressed an interest in annexing this in anticipation of what could occur there? That's a yes from the councilman.
So, Councilman,
Okay.
if you want to talk, I mean, yes, you're welcome to, you're welcome, to come up to the mic.
Because you are
Because-
who you are. I don't wanna
Right.
get into it.
No, yeah, this is,
Yeah, no.
Procedurally, we can't get into a debate here with with people saying, I want to talk.
Yeah, that's
But
why,
you're
that's.
on the council.
That's why I was kind of just
Right.
nodding my head, I wanted to
That's
obey
right.
procedure.
And just to be very clear, because those that are also listening, that, given the opportunity to have this dialogue with the municipality is also very important as we move forward. So
Okay.
if you have comment regarding from the municipality, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, the town had expressed interest in annexation. We were in the process of finalizing an agreement with the IDA. Approximately, we started 2 years ago, we started renegotiating with the IDA. I was part of that, the town council member, myself and former council member Hushhour were town representatives on that. We were about a month or so away from initializing the votes on accepting the annexation agreement or going through the process of it. Paperwork was in, and all of a sudden this clause of 10 years if nothing was done became known, and the property was returned back to the county.
Okay.
But we were about two months away from initiating votes on the annexation.
Okay, okay, I think that's a good refresher for me.
Yeah.
Now that you've said that, I do remember that.
Yeah,
And that's, I only want that to be known because I keep hearing people say, this is too quick, this is too quick. This green area has been sitting there since prior to 2010.
Mhm.
It just became apparent that these folks that own it wanted to sell it.
yeah. And,
So,
sorry.
I mean, I hate to get on this little property rights issue here.
Yeah.
Because clearly this is where we're going.
Yeah,
I mean,
and,
if I have a piece of property and then 87 people line up and tell me, well, you can't put a cornfield in there.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that.
yeah. And in reality too, the annexation has been known for a long time because I believe it was in our it definitely was as potential annexation area in the 2013 master plan. And it could have been potentially in the previous master plan before that. I'm not that
Okay.
familiar with the prior one, but it has been out there as a potential annexation area
So
for the
this
town.
property's in the designated growth area for the town
Yes, sir.
town area as well.
I believe so, yes, sir.
So common sense tells me, and I know that's a thing of the past, common sense.
Come on.
But common sense tells me that if you put, whatever you put in here, it's going to impact the town. Then why not would the town want to take ownership of this and move forward that way? I
Well-
kind of feel like the middleman here,
Yeah.
only because we own it, but I don't understand why the town isn't pushing to say, let us annex it first, and then let's go here.
Yeah,
Doesn't that make more sense? Because obviously we're hearing about the aquifer and the
Yeah.
wells there. It's gonna have to get water and sewer for anything to occur there.
yes. And to me, that would make sense, but again, I can't really speak
Okay.
for the town, but,
Okay, I'm trying to work through this, that's
Oh,
why.
yeah.
No, I get you, but,
Yeah.
so, a couple things. One, I want to give you the opportunity, if you have the ability to speak for the town.
Yeah.
If you're speaking, opinion, what I want to do is
Right.
make
Yeah.
sure we get to the facts, and again, and just, you can have a seat for a
Yeah.
second.
I mean, I can do the history of it pretty well, if you
So
have any
what-
questions related to that.
No, I
I
got
think
you.
you did, you answered my
Yep,
question.
and I
I'm good.
appreciate it, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you
Well,
being here.
I have one follow-up.
Okay,
just with
please.
that.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to the first 9 years on this in there?
The 10 years,
Yeah.
we started annexation talks, fits and starts, for some reason, it never completed, came to fruition. I came to the office 2 years ago. I believe the IDA approached us again, let's get the talk starting again. We started talking, as I said, nothing had changed from the previous annexation agreement. When it started, I asked, does anything need to be changed? I was told by the IDA, no, we're good with the original agreement. Let's just move ahead and work out the details that have been brought up beforehand. So that's what we were doing. I can't say why it was never finalized before, but again, we were a couple months away from conducting the votes.
And
10 years is a long time.
so,
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
what I'd like to do is restate thank you so much, Councilman. What I'd like to do quickly is just restate,
Commissioner, is it proper, Jim Fyfe would like to say something?
No.
Is that possible?
not this second, but
okay.
Yeah.
what I'd like to do is restate what you shared. The IDA was deeded the property on November 8, 2010. At this meeting on January 27, 2021, the IDA voted to return the property to the county. In a letter dated February 5, 2021, the IDA let the town know of its decision to end the project. On March 4th, you came before us to approve the request, or to approve to issue an RFP to develop a portion of the property. The RFP was reviewed by our county attorney and was put out, was let on April 9th, and then was openly advertised on May 28th, 2021. After receiving feedback, we extended it.
Wait a minute, what was openly advertised?
The RFP. The
Okay.
request for proposal
Oh, okay,
was
okay. I thought you-
completed
okay, got it.
by our lawyer
Got it,
with due diligence and then
Okay.
advertised on May 28th, 2021.
okay.
After receiving feedback from interested parties, the deadline was extended and the new award date was set at July 11th. On August 12th, our economic developer came back before us with the two proposals that were received. And at that time, we asked for more information on each proposal, and that's where we are today on September 30th. So this is not, some may feel that it's been fast, but from February 5th, 2021, we were getting this property back into our hands. And then we were working ourselves through what were we going to do with this property.
Right.
And
So, well, that's my point.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went over that, because it's 2021, so this property's been sitting there for 11 years. And everyone there around there full well knows that there's something that's gonna occur, because it's a prime piece of property.
It's the best piece we
So-
have in the county.
Right, so this, I don't know,
Jack,
Yeah.
don't interject.
This is
Hold
just
on.
for the debate part of it, but I still have a problem. The bottom line problem for me is, or challenge, not problem, challenge for me is, when you have something like this, whatever you do on that property is going to completely impact the town and the surrounding infrastructure, period. I don't care if you put a produce stand there. You're going to impact the town. Then why not would the town jump up and say, let's annex this, and then we'll move forward? Instead of us coming up with, we're trying to sell, it's almost like trying to sell a car, but yet you haven't seen the car yet. But trust me, here's the car. It'll be good for you.
Little old lady drove
So-
it to church on Sunday.
What
So
yeah.
I'm not trying to
No, I
make
get
light
you.
of this with
No.
that example, but
I get you.
that's not kind of the way that I am here.
Absolutely.
I said this before. I don't care if you give me 4 plans in front of me.
Yep.
It's got to be, there's got to be more interaction with the folks around there about the plans. And I think I stated it pretty good. If I had property across the street from me, and somebody's proposing property rights or not now, let's be clear, because I'm all about property rights too. The folks that own this have every right to do what they want within reason. It's their property.
Well, and that means the county at the moment, just to be clear.
Right, that's us. So we have every right to do that. But we also need to make sure that those that are going to be directly affected are all in. And I think that's the town. That's what I think.
So,
Bodler Road residents
Yeah.
aside, and I get their plight here
Yeah,
too.
it's two sides of the issue.
But if I was on that road, knowing that all that property's there, what do you think's gonna happen with that? So anyway,
no, just a couple things just real quick.
Okay.
And I want to be clear, what I just shared, what I read, was all of that information open to the public. As far as the transfer from the IDA back to the county, the RFP, and I'm asking you, Jack, everything that was shared, was that available to the public?
I'm sorry, was that available?
available to the public? Was that all open information?
I don't know exactly about the RFP. It went through purchasing, it didn't go through our department.
But
All
when
the
an
all the
RFP
questions,
goes out-
everything went to purchasing. When anyone called, when she said that Jack Library and Paige Sutherland, that is correct, because we sent everything to purchasing.
Right.
Because it wasn't
Okay.
our RFP, we couldn't do that.
Okay.
So
what-
I don't know what purchasing,
So Roberta or Tim, I mean.
It's a
when
public process.
The RFP, when it's put out, it becomes a public process. So it's available, that there is now an RFP for this property.
But-
And
But the problem with that, Ed, is,
people don't know where to go to and find it
Well,
or see it.
the average citizen is
Right.
not gonna say, oh, well, there's an RFP for Harrison Leisure.
Oh, no, I get you. No, and I'm not testing those, definitely, not
Right.
testing those that called in or those that are interested.
Right.
You know, but the work that we've been trying to do is really trying to say, this is, like you said, what is in the best interest of the county, what's in the best interest of the community. This is now county property, and we're doing this as openly as we believe we can. We
So-
are not allowed to have discussions amongst us unless we have it in front of the community.
Well, that's the way that we roll,
know.
you know that.
But,
That's all
but I
we
mean,
roll.
but that's just the
Why-
law, so anything else is wrong.
So why can't, I'm still trying to figure this out. And I've been thinking about this for a month. And you know, Jack, I've been down asking you questions for a month, and you've been pulling me in there saying, hey, by the way, because this is a huge deal here. Why can't we, as the property owners, say to, and I should know this answer.
Apply for annexation, is that where you're going?
Yeah, I don't know how to quite
The county
answer-
can.
I don't know how to phrase the question. But
Before we
bottom
put it
line,
to
why
RFP.
can't we say, as the property owners, we want this annexed before we do anything?
The county can.
You can do it, I mean.
That would be
yeah.
a board decision.
Now, I understand that that puts off two very good proposals that we've gotten in front of us, but wouldn't it make more sense if we did it that way?
If I may, I think that's a very astute observation, because I think ultimately either one of these developers wants that to happen. So we should put the horse in front of the proverbial cart, so to speak, and I think that's what you're getting at, and it makes sense.
So then, wouldn't that be more of a way in which to engage the citizens and the town? If we said, we want to annex it, instead of, well, here's a plan, then we're gonna annex it.
But didn't they have 10 years to get through that process? And I'm not saying not
The
to do
IDA?
this. Well, the IDA working with the town, and nothing got done. The town did not move on this piece of property while it was in the IDA's hands.
Well, it sounds like they were starting to, I mean, but now that it's ours, I can assure you that that's gonna move if we do that, don't you think? I'm not gonna sit on this now, I'm not gonna probably see what the end result's
No, I
gonna be,
understand. But
because I'm only here for another.
Let me ask
I
you a
get you,
question.
but the IDA has a lot of tools and a lot of value that they bring to our county. And when this was provided to them to process and transfer to them, and they couldn't get it done with the town, you know, we need a commitment from the town, like Councilman, you said, you know, for us to be working with the town, and it's got to go back and forth to get to an annexation, you know, before we do that. I'm all for it.
Did the IDA have either of these two plans in front of them when they were trying to annex with the town?
Yes.
They did.
Yeah, the zoning, the problem was, if you do that, remember, the town's in control at that point, you know, with their planning commission and their zoning.
Well, I understand that.
Which is, there's gotta be a lot of dialogue
Well, right.
back and forth that the zoning is correct, what our vision is with the county,
I get that.
you know.
I get that.
But it's a process, but also, you know, when a building comes in, let's say, you know, one building comes in from Ed St. John, you know, their planning commission approves that building. It's not our planning commission.
Right.
In the same way with, you know, Jim Fry comes in with 100 houses, their planning commission
Right.
is gonna do that. So I mean, just, I
Right.
mean, you know, I'm sure you can work that all
Oh,
out
I
legally.
know, I
But,
know.
you know, you do lose control. And I don't know if either one of these gentlemen are planning on annexing in anyway. They haven't shared that with me. You know, takes that option away, but
Well, they're almost gonna have to.
it's not a bad plan.
They're almost gonna have to with the
Yeah.
infrastructure, challenges over there. I mean, I don't
Why?
see any other,
Well, there's, I mean, I've looked at Westminster, I don't know how it's set up in Mount Airy, but I look at Westminster, people outside of Westminster can
Use the
use the
Westminster
infrastructure and so forth. And now Westminster would love them to annex in
Right.
and so forth, but some have developed without annexing in.
yeah, but that's not.
Westminster's unique that way.
Yeah, I
Mount
see,
Airy would
right.
have to change an ordinance in order to do
Let-
that, and maybe some
Let
other
me ask
things.
a
I don't know.
question here. Does the
Please.
board want to look at these long-range, $20 million plans, or do we want to take several million now up front and let them handle it all? The other thing is, could be an offer for a private buyer to have this and not deal with the infrastructure that's going to be needed. However, that kills all industrial growth, future industrial growth in that area. So-
Well, we have a responsibility to see what's in the best interest of our county.
Yes, and that's what I'm asking, which way
you
do
know,
we want to go?
Oh,
But-
there's
yeah,
no doubt
so-
there.
Huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't
No,
argue that.
Yeah, so,
That's-
you know, with that, looking at also, you know, Mount Airy and quality of life of Mount Airy, but now that it's our property, you know, what is in the best interest of Carroll County in the use of that property, maintaining our vision, maintaining our, you know, economy, you know,
So-
it's a balance, and that's why I brought up this senior task force I never heard of before,
Right.
you know, about senior homes, because I know there's senior homes coming up in lots of places within Carroll County, and there's not a whole lot of space for this type of growth, for industrial and other things.
Right, so if you're gonna go that route, then that begs the question on which one of these two plans best aligns with the master plan.
Correct.
So the county master plan and the town's master plans both have this as the town's designated growth area with the intention all along being that this property would be annexed into the town. Sorry.
Well,
We
think-
need to,
Yeah.
I think it should be
No, but
annexed
that's
into the
the fact.
town, but I would like to keep it in our control right now. I would like to, I mean, I don't, let's work with the town, let's do everything we can with the town, but this is our property now, I don't know, get what we're gonna do, get more information or whatever, but we need to make the decision of how we're gonna handle this. I don't wanna say,
Yeah.
let's let the town annex it and let the town make those decisions. I'd rather us make those decisions.
And what always
That's fair.
upsets me, but what is a concern of me, because I've done this before, both, you know, in different levels of government, is an RFP is put out, and for us, I am reluctant to take away those RFPs. A lot of work was been done by both companies to give us a solution, a viable and very viable and healthy solution to the use of those properties. And we're talking probably 5 figures at least putting into these type of products. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so that's why, Dennis, I agree with you, for us to maintain control, making a stronger commitment with Mount Airy to coming up with a better solution, and it could be, you know, a traveling roadshow with the community and seeing what works best. Again, and looking at what is best for our county, you know, since it's our property. And that's gotta, I mean, that's where we're at, so, I mean, I don't know, I mean, like I shared, I don't know, and I don't believe from hearing and listening to that we're ready to make a decision on A or B or B or A, but we are willing to make a decision on keep moving forward. So, and the choices between us are either giving up on the RFP or not giving up on the RFP, turning it over to, or processing it over to, back to the town, or not, you know,
Or,
or status quo.
or in Commissioner Weaver's question, selling it.
Or Commissioner Weaver saying, hey, just sell the property. My concern with that is we lose control over what is in our best interest, except making a few dollars up front.
Right, and plus, we put
A lot
this
of
out to
dollars.
RFP, these are the things we got back. I don't want to just say, forget that, I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think that's I don't even know we could do that legally, I have no idea, but I just don't think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
We put this out,
Yeah.
this is what we got back. It's up to us to
Yeah.
make a decision, and I said at the
Right.
beginning, no, we can't do the permitting and all this other stuff, we
Right.
can't talk state, but we still, you know, we're looking at the property, which way we're gonna go with it.
Right.
And I know there's people out there that just don't want the property developed, but that's not realistic. They have to realize this property is going to be developed. Let's look at the RFPs we have out there, which one best suits the needs of the county
Right.
and the town. That's what we need to look at. And if that
yeah.
requires a community meeting
Yep,
down in
yep.
Mount Airy, and it probably does, one or
Yep.
two, then let's do it.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
didn't we do that
Right.
with the designated growth area in the Freedom District? I mean, this was before my time, but there was a series of discussions.
Yeah, we were down
and-
there quite a bit.
And there was also a series of discussions with North Carroll High School on what was gonna be the use of it, and again, that was before my time. So this deserves the same for the community having that input and discussion. Just clarify, Commissioner Frazier, we do have the authority to pull RFPs. If we put it out, we do have.
I
it
still
is
feel
n-
bad about doing that.
It's not a good thing.
No, I don't think it's a good idea.
But we do have the authority.
Okay.
It's not something that I like to do because
Right.
the
I don't want to do
businesses.
that.
No.
I'm
No.
not any,
No. Good.
both of these companies have put a tremendous amount of
Yep.
work, as you
Yes.
say,
Yep.
into getting to this
Yeah.
point, and I'm not
Right.
gonna throw that out.
Right.
But I don't want to go on forever on this.
No.
This has to happen in the near future. We make a commitment which way we're going and how we're going to get there.
Well, I think our next step, if I can
Yeah.
suggest, would be to have a community meeting down in Mount Airy with the town,
Mhm.
and maybe the developers as well, everybody in the room talking, let developers make their presentation, town Mount Airy will be there, we'll be there, then hear from citizens after that. And then, you know, we have at least more information, but you have to realize, this is going to be developed. It can't be, I want to keep this as
Right.
grass or cornfields.
Right.
It's not going to be that way. This is going to move forward.
And again, I think we have a template used in other designated growth areas where we've had those conversations.
Yeah, we have.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
you two, both of your thoughts marry up together, because indeed, leaving it as grass is not in the best interest of the county.
Nope.
So you've said that, and you've said it a different way. Both of them come together, and it's gotta be, something's going to happen there. It's either this, or something similar of whatever each one, whatever. But it's not gonna be soybeans.
Right.
It's a valuable piece of property, and in the best interest of, sorry, Dave, in the best interest of, we got a lot of soybeans.
Aren't they up north?
We got 77,000 acres of soybeans, right, or whatever, anyway. The best
know what a
interest
bean
of the
looks like.
county, yeah, is it needs to, the bottom line is, we can realize a tremendous amount of fiscal positivity here for this county. And that's in the best interest of this county. So it's gonna be either one or the other, but I
Right.
think it needs to be all in
Right.
with the town on board, and off we go.
And-
Whoever,
and- Yeah, and while maintaining the vision of our county.
Right.
And how they use the designated growth areas. Are you speaking for the town?
What was that, sir?
Are you speaking for the town?
I feel comfortable saying what I'm about ready to say for the town.
Please do.
That's why.
Excuse me, I get confirmation before I speak.
No, it's
outside the town.
it's fine.
I would just like to say thank you for the conversation. We are more than happy to continue the dialogue with the county on this important issue with it. We'll look forward to having or potentially even hosting the meeting somewhere down in the town of Mount Airy for the surrounding community and the county. And I checked with our town administrator since the talk referred back to the annexation. As current owners of the property, you all would have to agree, either make the request to the town for annexation.
Correct.
We would have to agree to that.
Correct.
Or if we approach the county, you would have to agree to our request for annexation. So that's kind of where we stand right now with the annexation. Somebody either has to make the request and the other has to approve it.
And so what you're actually bringing up is having multiple meetings, one with the community, two with the town itself on processes and procedures.
Yes.
My expectation is that you will be hosting these meetings because the property is there and, the interest of
Gotcha.
folks being there, or reside there.
Oh, yeah.
And all I ask is that the town works diligently with the county to keep this moving in the direction it needs to go, because the timeline that was brought in front of us is just, too long.
Oh.
And so we need to do something.
I totally, there's kind of a new council with me, thought that a lot of things have been languishing far too long at times. So this was one of them. That was why, when I got on the council and we got things moving again.
Okay.
So we do understand the importance and the timeliness manner. I'd just like to say, Commissioner Wantz, you, did I pronounce your last name?
You're close.
Okay. You did guess correctly on the crop that's in the field right there. It is soybeans. So,
I actually didn't guess. I was down at the fire company the other night.
Oh,
so
okay.
I kind of saw
Yeah,
it.
inside information.
Okay, well, I live at the...
Just for the record, I kind of knew that.
Okay.
Any
Hey,
further comments? Go ahead.
When's the
Commissioner
mayoral election? I
The
mean,
mayoral election is November 2nd.
okay, it's a great day.
It is an election day. It was just fell on that day.
Thank you, Commissioner. If I may, this property has been a bit of a proverbial open wound for the county and for the community down there. And though this is very contentious, it's important for us to go through this process and get this thing to heal up. And of course, like any other wound, there might be a bit of a scar and a remnant left with other people that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. I want to express my sincere appreciation to Councilman Munder for being here today. He's been a wealth of information for us. We're very grateful for the town council to have you here. I'm very grateful for the developers putting these proposals out here. This is critical for my constituents to see. They want access to it. I want to appreciate the work of Director Lyburn and his staff. And most of all, I want to express my appreciation to my colleagues here that so often we get attacked on these issues as if we're cavalier about this. We are far, far from cavalier about this. We're putting a lot of thought process in this. I very much appreciate President Rossi going over the timeline. And Commissioner Wantz mentioned this is going back to 2010. We're not just pulling this out of the hat at the last minute, that we're putting a lot of thought and process into this. And I look forward to the hearings to hear more from the people. And I'm in a bit of a pickle here. This is my district, and I'm very grateful that my colleagues reflect and help me with this issue. But I have constituents that live within the town proper itself and out in the county, and their opinions seem to collide. And somehow or another, we're going to find a compromise in this. And I don't think everyone on either side is going to be happy. But somehow or another, we're going to have to bring this to a close, and the transparency has been mentioned before is paramount. And I look forward to working with the town and my colleagues and letting the public know what all is going on before we make our final decision. So I'll just close with a big special thank you to everyone involved.
Okay, Commissioner Weaver? Nothing? Commissioner Wantz?
I think it's laid out.
I've said
I just think we need to get this meeting as soon as possible. Get a meeting with us, the town, and the developers, all in the same room. Public comment as soon as possible, and we'll see what happens after that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
out of respect to both of these
exactly.
concept plans too, we need to do this like yesterday.
Yep. And that's actually what I was going to share, gentlemen. I do appreciate you both being here, listening to this discussion. I know you would like to have had partaken in this. It's just not in the right timing, but you will have that opportunity as we move forward, as you should, because neither one of these is going to be thrown out, you know. This is county property, and we have to do what's in the best interest as shared for our county and our community, to include Mount Airy.
Thank
So,
you.
Okay, so no decisions have been made on this except for guidance on the way forward. Is that okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all
Let's
for
move
coming.
on to citizen services. Applying for a block grant. Celine Steckel. Where is Celine Steckel?
She's coming in.
Pick those up, put them right across here.
Just block them? Yeah.
You're over there.
I didn't know you were here.
You could have snuck out. and
Hello, Miss Celine.
Gotten lunch. and-
You would have known, that's the problem.
I saw you. I had my eye on you.
Celine, who's coming up? You all ready?
We're all here.
Okay, come on up. And let's talk about FY 2022 Community Development Block Grant for special projects at the CCYSB.
No easels and boards for you?
We left them in the hall. We're gonna bring them in a minute.
Oh, please don't.
So, good morning, Commissioners. I'm Celine Steckel, the Director of Citizen Services, and this is Lynn Davis. She's the Executive Director of the Youth Service Bureau here in Carroll County. And we are here before you this morning to request approval for the development of a CDBG special project application and to proceed to public hearing. The Youth Service Bureau would like to apply for community development block grant funds so that they can conduct a feasibility study to have an expansion to their building of 10,000 square feet so that they can add additional programming and staff office space for their services that they provide. The total cost that they are applying for the federal grant would be $32,800. The cash match that the YSB would provide would be $2,100. The county cash match would be no commitment, but we would provide $105 of in-kind staff support from my office, from our fiscal staff, to help with the financial side of the project, for a total cost of $35,005. I do want to turn it over to Lynn, though, so she can talk to you a little bit about the programs that they provide and their history and what this office space would do for them and the process.
Thank you. Lynn Davis, Executive Director of Carroll County Youth Service Bureau. And as Celine said, we're here today to go for, I guess in the CDBG world, it's a small kind of grant, but it will permit us to do a feasibility study to add the square footage to our agency. Certainly, I know you're all pretty familiar with us, but we offer substance use as well as mental health counseling to all ages of people with varied and sundry concerns that they come to us with, as well as provide numerous programs for Carroll County Public Schools, Department of Juvenile Services, and the Department of Social Services. The 10,000 square foot addition that we would like to add will primarily be for our assertive community treatment program, which serves our folks with schizophrenia and very serious depression. This is an in-community grant, but a couple of things we'd like to add in this edition would be possibly an area for showers and an area for people to do their laundry. What our staff has found that many times they are in the cold, lined up 15 deep, trying to get showers at Shepherd staff, and it's awful for our clients, and it's really uncomfortable for our staff as well. We'd also like to have a little kitchen where we can teach people functional skills, you know, cooking and cleaning and all those important things that some of our folks just don't have the ability to do. We're also going to house in that our Connecting Youth program, which is for kids 16 to 24 years of age and who aren't working and aren't in school. So that would be a a place for them as well. We'd also like to add a larger conference room, if we can. Ours is just maxed out even with our staff, but we also offer that space to any people in the community. So it's often used by Carroll County Public Schools as well as some businesses or anyone who calls us and wants to use it. So those are the things primarily that will go in this additional building. We're looking to make it contiguous to the existing building so that we won't need any more front office staff, or HVAC can be connected. So hopefully reduce some of the costs by having it connected to our building. We also have a very nice lunchroom that we feel like all the staff from both sides can use, so.
I'll do a tour of the lunchroom.
That's right. So, yeah, so that's what we want to do, and this feasibility study will last about 6 months, I'm told. It will be able to retrieve any information that we have to make an existing plan going forward. It will provide us with a study, just a preliminary study on our stormwater management, any kind of geotechnical investigations that might need to be done, and it'll also prepare a layout to provide us with the scope of work that needs to be done, what the acreage would be, and really any plans moving forward. So that's what we're looking at, and these are, been talking about this for a few years, and of course, you know, things got in our way, but I think we're ready now. We already have a very large grant in with the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and we will hear from that after the legislative session this year, but we've moved through both of the initial processes, and we are now, it's going to be presented, go to management and budget with this legislative session.
Ms. Davis, you do very noble work, and I appreciate you mentioned the fact that we have a percentage of our population that suffers from mental illness. That so often you hear from people, oh, they're just lazy people, they don't want to work. That these are people who've been afflicted with mental health conditions that actually prevents them from having a career. And it's their compassion as a community to help these individuals. Have you seen an uptick in the demand over the last year and a half? How big of a strain has it been on you, and will this potentially be sufficient enough to meet your projected demands?
We're hoping it's going to be large enough. Yes, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in the last couple years, certainly, lots of more referrals. With this particular population, we're only allowed to serve 100, and we're at 95 right now. So additionally, what this will do, this will allow us to add a mobile treatment team to really be able to house it. We did a bond bill this year that built in our sun porch or whatever it was, so now that's a room that's going to allow us to start the process of building the mobile treatment team, but that will be another team that will be able to serve the seriously and persistently mental ill folks. But no, it's a chemical imbalance. That's truly how, you know, how we in the field believe it, and that's how doctors who prescribe for it believe it, and you know, people don't normally want to be homeless or to be this sick as they are, and not only can they not work, they can't function on a daily basis. So the Assertive Community Treatment is truly an amazing program that consists of a psychiatrist, nursing staff, housing people, employment specialists, a therapist, and they make mini teams to support each and every person who is on that, who is on our client list. They meet every single morning and go through all 95 people to see where they are, what they need, what we need to schedule, doctor's appointments, whatever. They are so in tune with this population. And you said compassion. I mean, our folks on this particular staff would often take people's clothes home and wash them at their homes. So we want to move a step up from that into a little bit more professional level where people can come and learn to do their own laundry and learn to, you know, cook for themselves and learn to do all the things that they want to do.
And this also actually takes the stress off for law enforcement and correctional facility. You can't just lock these people up, which is much more expensive and doesn't address the core issues they're faced with.
Yes, and this team actually has a very good relationship with Carroll Hospital Center with the emergency room. And if one of our clients, they know the names of our clients, you know, and if one of our clients come in the emergency room, they're gonna call us first. And they're gonna
So you
give us
guys
a
have a
chance.
network.
Mm-hmm, yep, and then we're gonna go up there and we're gonna work to stabilize that person, and often they don't need to be in an emergency room, so.
Yeah, and I've seen people with age, developmental health issues. You can have someone who has a wonderful, productive life, and if something happens mentally, trauma or whatever, and then it deteriorates, it's gut wrenching to see it happen. I've seen it happen.
Yep.
So I'm very grateful you guys have the compassion for this. With that, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the development of the CDBG Special Projects application and proceed to public hearing. So,
Okay, got a motion, got a second. Any further discussion?
Why does it have to go to public hearing? Is that just the way it is, or what?
That's a requirement of CDBG funding.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, you already have all your ducks in a row. I don't even know why we need a feasibility study.
Ducks,
That sounds like that's a
swans.
6-month delay to me, but I guess that's the way it works with the grants. So.
Well, and I can say to you that, it's county land, so
Right.
we'll
Uh-huh.
come to you at some point and ask
Right.
you, you know.
I'd give it to you now if I had to. I mean,
Oh,
why that's why it's a delay here that I think is
Well,
unnecessary.
it's all the, you know, all the regulations and to make sure everything's okay, but, you know, and then the land that we'd like sits on Robert Moton
Right,
Elementary
right.
School, so,
Okay.
so again, that's a process. And the school system has asked us, how much land do you need? So in order to be able to tell them you know, with a definite answer, we gotta do a feasibility study
Okay.
and, yeah, so, but thank you.
Yeah, well, just always seems to, we hear this all the time. Well, we're gonna do this, but we need to do a feasibility study first. Okay, clearly, you need it. What's unfeasible about that?
State requirements.
Some of these process and procedures is whatever.
talk to Mr. Burke.
You can
about it.
change those.
Apparently I
Yes,
can.
actually, I think
Not with the-
Mr. Tim Burke and Mr. Ed O'Mealy will probably have a conversation at some point about the transfer.
Okay. Just venting, sorry.
No, I appreciate the vent because I think it's the sentiment of all of us in saying the same. You provide a solution to a lot of, you know, things that are out there, problems that are out there. And you're part of the curriculum, circle of care.
They're
The
part of our
CCYSB.
circle, but also through our local management board, they have funding that comes down through our local management board's
Right.
community partnership agreement.
Are you a member of the local management board?
Of what?
The local management board? No.
I was, but
Right.
I had to terminate. You can only stay on for so long, and then I went off and then went back on again,
Right.
and now I'm off again, so.
Okay.
But we do have, a member of our staff that's part of the
You
local
do?
management
Okay.
board, yes.
And this helps our veteran community as well, correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second from someone. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you,
so
thank you
much.
for all you do.
Thank you. It's rewarding work, I have to say. Thank you.
Okay,
Looking forward to the tour of the lunchroom.
Mr. Ripper, let's talk about Microsoft Office 365 and Exchange subscriptions. Wow, with a hefty price tag.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Sir.
Good morning again, Commissioners. We are here this morning again to ask your approval to award the renewal of the Microsoft Office 365 and Exchange subscriptions to SHI International in the amount of $206,878.56. This purchase is being made through the Maryland State contract. We did ask for a quote from the previous vendor, who was CDW, and they failed to respond. This amount is within the project budget, so we should not be asking for any additional funds. And any questions, I'll turn it over to Mark. Morning. This is the product that everybody in the county uses. It's the Microsoft Word, Excel, email, PowerPoint, Teams for meetings, all of that.
So it is an annual subscription. This price is set for 3 years, so each year I'll be coming back to you for the same $206, $878.56. But it is a 3-year contract that we have on this particular price. So it'll stay steady rather than going up.
Okay,
Gotta have it.
yeah. Any questions or discussion on this?
Nope, I'll make the motion, the Board of Commissioners approve the renewal of the Microsoft Office 365 and exchange subscription to SHI International in the amount of $206,878.56.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's talk about purchasing a John Deere 544 Papa-Tier loader. This is exciting.
Yes. You got photos?
I have a printout picture of one if you want to see an animated version.
I'm like a little kid.
Again, Commissioners, we are here to ask your approval to approve a purchase of one John Deere 544 P-Tier four-wheel drive loader from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $183,539.31. This purchase is being made through a Sourcewell contract, which was competitively bid. And again, it's within the budget, and so no additional funds should be needed. And I will turn it over to Reed for any questions.
So Commissioners, this loader would be a replacement for the Department of Solid Waste. It will be replacing a 2009 John Deere 544 loader with about 14,000 hours on it. That loader will be sent to auction. And I would like to mention that the Bureau Chief of Solid Waste, Mr. Cliff Engel, he is present today. He can give you a little insight as to what this machine will be used for at the landfill.
The bury the bodies, is that what you'll use it for?
That's the excavator. It digs deeper. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. It's good to see everybody. The John Deere loader, essentially the loaders at the landfill are used for a multitude of tasks, from operating at the yard waste area to packing material at the homeowner trash and recycling drop-off areas, serving as for excavation of soils in the bar area, loading dump trucks, et cetera. They also are used to push snow at the facility and anywhere else that we could, if we need to move off-site to take them to. So this one would be in addition to, I believe it's a 2015, which those two then would make up our primary loader fleet at the facility.
Okay.
And some refreshing good news on this piece of equipment is that we'll have it by next month.
Wow, really?
That is very unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Reed
and-
found
and
out,
the
go ahead, Reed, I don't want to steal your
No,
thunder.
sorry.
Go ahead.
If we don't act now and purchase it, we might have to wait another year to get one, so.
I move the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of one John Deere 544P Tier 4 four-wheel drive loader from Jesco in the amount of $183,539. Couldn't knock 31 cents off.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, got a second. Any discussion on this?
Now hurry up.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye. Go
We'll
get it
purchase
quick.
this thing.
Go,
Thank you.
Reed,
Yeah,
go.
absolutely.
Thank you all very
Okay.
much.
When you get it, I want to go and get a photo. I definitely want a photo of the crew that works with it. I want to get their face up with the equipment, so thank you.
Okay, let's talk about replacing a failing stormwater drainage system located between 2677, 2679 Walston Road. Gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Commissioners. So, Jim Cook, our Bureau Chief Roads Operations, and I are here before you this morning to seek your approval to use a term contract to replace a 30-inch by 122-foot long section of corrugated metal pipe, which is a drain located near 2677 Walston Road. Through our aggressive management and looking around, as we've told you on the past, our area roads chiefs pay particular attention, and actually one of them located this problem where we had some settlement in the road. Upon further investigation, we were able to find a sinkhole off the road in the area of the outfalls of this pipe, and we need to take action to have this pipe replaced. So Stamballs has submitted a quote for us $29,120. They do have a term contract with the county, and funding is in place in the current budget for this work. If you have any questions specifically regarding the work, have both Jim and Kathy Verts here in the room for you.
Well, I know that Commissioner Wance's district got hit hard with flooding, did a lot of damage. Is this in his district as well?
No.
No, it's yours.
It's your
Oh, it's in
district.
my district. Oh,
Your
my
district.
goodness. In my the northern end of my district?
Uh-huh.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, it's right off 26.
Okay, I'll get out there with you and take a look at it. Just make sure you're not pouring concrete on it. With that, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the Bureau of Roads Operations to use Sandball Inc. to replace the failing stormwater drain system pipe located between 2677 and 2679 Walston Road for $29,120.
Second.
I'll buy you lunch.
I got a motion, I got a second. Any discussion on this?
Just a question, to replace this one, are you gonna have to dig up the old pipe and put the new pipe in?
Yes.
So you can't
Yes.
put the liner in it at all?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, anything further? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
you, Commissioners. Have a good day.
I know
Absolutely.
you guys have been extremely busy with all that rain and washing things out, so thanks to you guys and your crews for everything you do. There's a lot of people out there in the field, behind the scenes, doing that work that we don't even get to see. So please send them our appreciation.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, now we need to request a resolution to make a budget transfer from the reserve for contingencies to facilities regarding North Carroll High School.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
As you are aware, the county entered into a purchase agreement for the former North Carroll High School building to be sold on or before June the 30th. We were before you previously for a budget transfer to get us through to the September 30th deadline. That is today. My understanding is the property is now scheduled to be closed on sometime mid-December. So we are requesting another budget transfer for 3 months to get us through that time for $120,000, which is $40,000 per month for upkeep and maintenance, utility bills, those type things.
Okay, any discussion? This is a tough one because it's been extended, we know that.
Another one of these gotta-be-done things.
It's
I
kind
know,
of like the
but it's-
Harrison Leisure property, it just keeps going
It's
on.
just like
Well-
a big drain on us.
It is, right now, but it'll pay.
I know, I'm
It'll pay back.
looking
It's
down
like
the
pulling in
tunnels
an
for the
infected
light,
tooth,
but
we want to
man.
pull it.
Could we save any money, Jason, if I sent Weaver over there on his,
Tractor.
Commissioner Frazier, would you
Well-
like to make the
It may
motion?
cost you more.
this is yours.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Commissioner
I
Weaver.
move the Board of Commissioners approve resolution number 0-22.07, a budget transfer, $120,000 from the reserve for contingencies to the Department of Public Works Bureau for facilities for operation and maintenance expense at the former North Carroll High School building for the months of October through December 2021. I hope it doesn't last that long.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, I have a second from Commissioner Wance. Okay, any further discussion?
That was a very reluctant second.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm with you.
Can't blame you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Go.
Good luck, good luck,
I
boys.
say, let's go run away.
Oh, man.
Okay, yeah, I know. Sometimes it's painful.
It's like going to the
Okay,
horse.
I do not believe we have anybody on the line for public comment. Is that correct, Matt?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, and nobody in the room for public comment. Open admin, do we have any before? Well, we
Need a
have to
motion to
approve
approve the minutes from
closed session.
closed session on September 23rd.
Second.
It had to do with land acquisition, okay. You see any discussion on this? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm, that one. There's a lot of discussion, but not
Yeah.
that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any discussion for open admin from anyone?
I have one quick thing. It was asked earlier today about a proclamation for the community college for their recognition as an excellent school within the state, and we will be having a joint meeting with the community college board on November 16th in the afternoon, and we will have the proclamation for them at that time.
That's great.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sounds like a plan. That's over there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were invited there.
Yeah. It's an away game.
It is an away game, okay. Ms. Wanda, why don't you come on up and let's talk about agendas. The week of October 4th and October 11th. October 4th, we have nothing. October 5th, Commissioner Wentz will be attending, actually it'll be a virtual Shock Trauma Board of Visitors Board meeting. Then there'll be a ribbon cutting at 9 a.m. where we all will be attending at the Hampstead wastewater treatment plant. Wednesday, Commissioner Wentz will be attending the 4th Annual Alcohol Retailer Training Seminar. There's no participation in that, is there? Just asking. Just asking. It's early in the morning, so. Thursday, we have open session beginning at 9 a.m. Let's see. Oh, that's right. We'll have Mako coming in with Mr. Sanderson and Mr. Levengood, the Mako president and Mako executive director, share with us their thoughts for about an hour. Then we will have public comment on Chapter 51, which is the Sewer and Water Code of Public Laws and Ordinances. We're gonna have to do something about this draft thing because it's hard to read between them. Then we will have public comment on request approval to hire contingent senior center floater positions from Citizen Services. Request approval to hire a contingent housing specialist, again from Citizen Services. Updated MS4 stormwater permit memorandum of agreement with the municipalities. Land Resource Management, Mr. Hine will be presenting. And request approved transfers from community self-help programs in Parks and Rec for fall of 2021. Mr. Degetz will be presenting. It sounds like everybody pretty much got what they wanted for that, which is cool. Commissioner Weaver will be attending a Eagle Scout ceremony on Saturday, and hold your horses, I'll be doing the podcast on Sunday. Looking forward to that?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna have to get up in the morning and hear that one.
Yeah, I may have to get up early.
I'll send
yeah.
it to you directly.
What time is that?
27
7 a.m.
times.
I want to get up at 7 a.m. and listen to who again? Yeah, right,
I don't
okay,
know.
thanks.
Okay, until rudely interrupted, I will continue. On Monday, October 11th, the county offices will be closed in observance for Columbus Day,
Why?
because it says it on here.
I know.
County offices closed
I'm-
in observance of Columbus Day.
Columbus got lost and he was drunk most of the time, and we have a day for him.
Wasn't he like the Bahamas or somewhere down there?
Yeah, he
got
got
to
lost. The
Bahamas.
dude got lost, and he was drunk half the
I
time,
don't
right,
think they
Tim?
used, I don't think they were.
As a former Grand Knight of the St. Bartholomew's Knights of Columbus, deeply offended by those comments.
You can't even finish the statement.
He needs to go get
Boy.
lost.
Okay.
Okay, then there'll be an Ag Center board meeting, which I'll be attending on Tuesday evening. On Wednesday, I will be attending a Formula Alliance Key Leader Series, and I believe Congressman Rupersberger, along with the Deputy Director of NSA, will be, doing like a fireside chat, so I'm looking forward to that.
Fireside chat.
Yeah, one of those things.
For the record, it's
For the
not on
record.
here. From Wednesday, October the 13th through Friday, October the 15th, I will be away with the Baltimore Metropolitan Council for
Down
their
Philly.
annual Chesapeake Connect trip to Philly.
To Philly.
Philadelphia.
I know.
The county administrator allegedly will be going along on that trip. as will the Director of Planning, Linda Eisenberg.
Okay.
And we're also taking, just for the record, for you guys to know, I invited the new Economic Development Director from Tawnytown. I think that's gonna be good for him to get the networking, Jay Michi, so he's going along too, so. We'll be in Philly for 3 days,
You been to Independence Hall yet?
not recently.
Well, all right, you've been before,
Yeah,
so make
been
sure you
before,
get
yeah.
it.
Get a good cheesesteak.
Yeah, I hit the Liberty Bell when I was there and it
Did you?
cracked. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, you're the one who did it.
Yeah, see, well, you know,
They've been looking for you.
sorry, God didn't mean it.
Liability.
No, I'm waiting.
It's a
No,
history
seriously.
nerd's paradise.
So, yeah,
I'm patient.
Okay, it depends.
On Thursday, October 14th. What are we doing? Public hearing on feasibility study, CCYSB. No, they're coming back to us.
That'll be the public hearing.
What's that?
That's the public hearing.
That is the public hearing, okay. Then approve Trailblazer route changes from DPW. We'll look at the college pass fare increase from, again, DPW. And then we will approve the CTS safety plan from DPW. I expect this list to grow. On later that evening at 6 p.m., we have the Carroll County Land Trust Dinner, where Commissioner Frazier and I will be attending over at Best One. And Commissioner Weaver will be attending. You'll be gone.
Yeah, or
Friday,
else I'd be there.
nothing. Saturday, we all will be attending the 75,000 acre preserved and growing celebration. Also, at 10 a.m. So, when is the presentation happening on this?
12:30,
I believe
I
it's
think.
happening at 12:30.
Right.
So at 10 a.m., I am attending a portrait unveiling at the National Guard Bureau, the Freedom Readiness Center.
Whose portrait?
General Sin.
Oh, I'm not sure.
So,
I know where there's 300 acres close to Mount Airy could go in that preservation program, add to it. Oh,
Wanda, I just checked my schedule. I'll be attending the Land Trust Dinner as well. Thank you.
Okay.
okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order, for the good of the group? We do not have closed. We have the opportunity to adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to stick around?
Well, it's only 20 after, I'm gonna say no.
All in favor? Aye, 4-1.